Don Lemon and his left-wing mob just stormed a Minnesota church to protest ICE.
I have spoken about people showing up at the church before, and I have said that I am on the wall when it comes to doing stuff like that, even when it comes to open rebuke. And this is the reason why. Because people will start to believe that they have the right to show up at somebody's church doing praise and worship, prayer, or even a sermon because they don't agree with the Bible, they don't agree with the way the pastor is preaching, they don't agree with the religion, whatever the case may be, they're going to feel like it is their right to protest. And there are some people who will go inside of the church. There are some people who will go inside the sanctuary, and you don't get to determine where they stop at and voice their opinions. This is extremely unfortunate, and I want to talk about it. So I want y'all to watch these clips so we can find out what really happened on Sunday, because it was a lot going on, and this was one of the things. But before we do, please subscribe to this channel and like this video, because you're not the only one who wants to watch it. Now let's go.
And I'm just going to walk in, see what's happening. Okay.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. Yeah. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
Yeah. So, what do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus, because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world, is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yeah. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. Yeah. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them. Did they explain to you why they're here?
They did not.
They said that there is someone here in Easterwood, who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest.
There's a varying array of views in this church on politics of immigration. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
This shows you just how divided America is. When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying, and you know what was the interesting thing? If these two groups could just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up, and I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch. This guy here, look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. They think you lost and this didn't accomplish anything, and you went into their house, the house of the Lord.
The reality is the house of the Lord is a place where love lives. It's not a place where you can have a pastor masquerading as the director for the field office of ICE in St. Paul.
So you mean to tell me that these people decided to protest at the church because the pastor, which I believe his name is David Easterwood, pastors at the church, but he works as a director for ICE. They couldn't have gone to his home. That would have been too much like right. So they decided to visit a church with a group of people yelling and screaming. I don't want to hear that unless somebody is catching the Holy Ghost. So now you got members of the church terrified, children in the church terrified, probably traumatized because they have no clue what's going on. Some of them children don't even know what ice is. They thinking about it's ice out the freezer or ice cream. And you have people that just don't care because it's all about what they're trying to prove and making things go viral. So we just not going to protect the kids. You got people that are going to start coming into church with a pow-pow because they don't know what's going to happen. That protest could have been outside of the church. It should have never gone inside of the church. This is why I told you I was on the fence, but I'm no longer on the fence. I'm off the fence. We need to figure out another way. But we should not be going into the church house. I'm sorry. No, and no. The Bible does say that if we have an issue with our brother, we need to take it to our brother. It does not say that we need to take a whole gang of people to take it to our brother. These people went into church. From my understanding, they sat for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes during the service, and then they got up and started the commotion. Nobody is heard that way. So what was the point? You don't get a point across by yelling and screaming and causing commotion. That never works. That's like an argument. So you got the loud music playing in the church, and you got these people who are protesting, yelling and screaming, and you got other people sitting there looking like what's going on and terrified. And some people that are not in shock probably got up and left the church. It's a lot going on, and nothing, and I mean nothing, is being resolved. I want y'all to take a listen to another gentleman who I believe attends the church. He had a lot to say. So let's watch this clip.
These people have come into our house and they've interrupted our worship. This is a house of peace, and we try to proclaim that. And this stirs division and rancor. And in the end, it's not helpful. Ultimately, I believe they've lost. They've emptied a house of worship. Everybody's gone home. Their point has been proven worthless. And so, in the end, I think they lose. But more importantly, if I was to break into any of their houses uninvited, cause derision and upset according to their values, I would be kicked out ultimately. It's not a good way. I feel violated. I feel interrupted. I feel angry.
May I ask you something? When you were saying if you had showed up at their house, they're saying that people are showing up at houses where they're citizens without due process and breaking and entering the house. One that we saw, I've been watching from New York, with a battering ram into someone's private property, and there's no recourse. There's no, you understand what I'm saying?
This is all part of a much larger dialogue, in my opinion. On one side are people who watched a previous administration bring 12 million people in over the course of 4 years, and many of them undocumented, many of them criminals, etc. This is another administration's corrective. Now, whether you agree with the policies or procedures, I think I could actually be sympathetic to some of the things where there have been challenges to fashion and decency. At the same time, these are what are called targeted interventions by ICE to keep the American people safe.
If I respectfully may interject here, I've been out reporting on a lot of these, and they're not targeted. There are no warrants signed by a judge, let me finish. And they're American citizens, many of them. Most of the people that they detain don't have criminal convictions or criminal records.
I'm not going to get into the weeds.
But you should know that, though. Don't you think that's part of it?
Yes, and I could also show you many opposing sides where we're also picking up the very criminals that have put Americans in danger And I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not messy. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm saying this is a part of a much larger dialogue in which one administration caused a great deal of chaos and havoc and danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
Okay.
let me talk to you
Listen,
just on the
you're not
facts.
a journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than American citizens?
We're done here. We're done here.
Than natural-born Americans? You won't listen.
If you could ask,
I'm giving you the facts. It is.
Give me facts. I would have a conversation.
But I can respond to you.
No, we're done.
Did Jesus stand with the oppressed?
Because he doesn't want to listen to facts. That's the interesting thing about this, is that they won't listen to facts.
No.
You won't, because
when you pose as a journalist,
I am a journalist. Journalist gives facts.
And then you start correcting me with facts, and don't have.
You shouldn't hear the facts.
Of course, I
most
should
of the
hear
people
facts.
who are picked up
but will
are
you
not.
Give me the facts on both sides.
That is the facts on both sides. Most of the people who are picked up and are detained are not convicted. They have no criminal convictions. They have no criminal records. None. That immigrants commit far less crime than native-born Americans. So they won't listen to the facts. Anyways.
I don't believe that either side is doing this the correct way. God would not be pleased. And please, before you start going in my comments talking about Jesus kicked over tables or knocked over tables, I'm going to need you to know that you ain't Jesus. Yes, the Lord sends us to be watchmen, to rebuke people in their wrongdoing, judge righteously. Okay, let me make sure I say that, judge righteously. But all of what's going on, the Lord would not be pleased at people being harmed, people being disruptive in the church house, and then the whole time y'all ain't found the man that y'all upset about. So this man ain't nowhere to be found, but y'all over in them people place acting a fool. Okay. Okay. But I want to hear more from the person who organized this whole thing, because she has something to say, and I want y'all to take a listen to. So let's go.
This will not stand. They cannot pretend to be a house of God while harboring someone who is directing ICE agents to wreak havoc upon our community and who killed Renee Good, who almost killed a 6-month-old baby. Enough is enough. I am a reverend on top of being a lawyer and an activist. So I come here in the power of the Almighty God.
The woman that you just listened to, her name is Nakima Levy Armstrong. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Now, Nakima Levy Armstrong stated that she came to that church in the power of the Almighty God. And she's a reverend, an activist, and a lawyer. And in what I heard, let me tell you what I heard. What my perception was, Denise's perception, was that she knows that she came there for the Lord because she's a reverend. That's what I heard. That's what I perceived. Now, what I did notice is that Miss Levy Armstrong does not have reverend in her social media bio. I'm not saying that she's not a reverend. I'm just simply saying she needs to go ahead and put that in her bio. Because what she does have in this bio is that she is a activist and she's a lawyer. And if you gonna tell us that the Lord sent you somewhere because you're a reverend, I need you to put in your bio. Just like I need people to put their titles of what they held on their job on their LinkedIn. I need you to be proud that you're a reverend, that you're spreading the word of God. That's all I'm saying, y'all. Now, I got a whole lot of other thoughts about this woman here because y'all know I disagree with what they have done. And I have said some of those thoughts. I am going to let the rest lay on somebody else's shoulders and let y'all listen to what other people had to say.
Don Lemon just got caught telling a bold-faced lie. He sat down and did an interview with this lady. He told the lady that he did not know that he was going to a church. The issue with that is you record everything that you do, Don. Let me play the video.
I said, well, there's this thing happening that they've been sending out flyers for. Perhaps you want to cover this. So I said, sure. And I went, okay, I'll cover. And then when I went to cover it, they said, we're doing this this protest that is sort of similar to the civil rights movement, where they show up places and they sort of disrupt the peace, like sitting in at lunch counters or, drinking out of water fountains that were only supposed to be for white people. And I said, sure, I'll go, I'll chronicle it. And they ended up at a church. I didn't even know they were going to a church.
So you just heard Don say himself that he had no idea that they were going to a church. Watch this.
Keena said this is clandestine, a clandestine operation. And then we can tell you what's going to happen after. We don't know what's happening. We kind of do, but we don't know how it's going to play out. Okay, so we are here. Now, do you think if you just had it, I think maybe if you just have it on the church.
So he said if you could just have it on the church. So that means before you walked in there, you knew that you were going to a church. So you had a split decision to make, whether you go in there or whether you stay your backside outside the church and chronicle. And we know what he did. He went in the church.
I honestly think Don Lemon is more so trying to convince himself that he still aligns with Christ more than us, because the difference in rhetoric between him and that pastor was like night and day. When you watch that video, notice who the pastor was trying to bring the attention to versus Don Lemon. The pastor was trying to bring people's attention back to Jesus Christ and worshiping Jesus Christ. Don Lemon was trying to bring their attention to the protests. I'm not going to argue with anybody about the legality of what happened with Don Lemon and those protesters. It was illegal. It violated the free exercise clause.
They stormed into this church and they are taking it over, and they are, quote, protesting inside of this church. Now, let's get something straight here. I think a lot of people have misunderstood what protest about this whole protest thing. The Constitution gives us a right to peacefully assemble. I don't see anything in there where it says you can trample all over somebody else's right while they're peacefully assembling in a place that they pay for and in their own private space that they've set aside for themselves. I don't think I see that anywhere in the Constitution. So that's the number one thing. These idiots that think that it's okay to run the street and burn cars and loot buildings, and they call that protest. No, sir. The Constitution says you can peacefully assemble, and that does not include trampling all over somebody else's right to peacefully assemble in the legal place where they are doing it, which is that church. So you're dead wrong, Mr. Lemon, and all those idiot protesters.
Don Lemon claims to be a Christian. Don Lemon does not walk, talk, act like a Christian. Now, somebody might ask, what does a Christian walk, talk, and act like? A Christian is on a daily fight to fight their flesh, not give in to their flesh. I said it, my feelings, you don't have to agree. It's okay. A Christian does not think it's okay to barge into a church. And you're all up in the face of people trying to get an interview. The situation is real bad. I'm going to need you to back up. Where's the love? But the Reverend said the house of God is a place of love. I didn't see no love up in there. What they did was not out of love.
I love you.
Where?
What?
Show me. Where is this love? I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't feel it.
So let me say this. I don't remember the Constitution. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I failed it the first time. And then the second time I took it, I passed by the hairs on my chin. If we do not agree with somebody looting neighborhoods, breaking into stores, burning cars and things of that nature, why would we agree with someone going into a church house to cause a bunch of chaos and commotion? It's almost the same thing without the fire, okay? And when we think about the scriptures, which nobody is really speaking about, and we talk about loving thy neighbor as we love ourselves, and we speak about people coming to different places needing to follow the laws of those places, and we speak about going to your brother when you have a grievance with your brother or your sister, none of the scriptures are being abided by. Nobody's following them. That's why I said both parties are wrong. If you're going to deport somebody, you got to deport them in love. If you got to get a little rough because they don't want to be deported in love and you got to kind of stronghold them to get them where you need them to get them to, that's one thing. But taking folks' lives is a whole different thing. And that's also in the Bible. All of the things that we have against our brothers and our sisters, if you're able to go to them and speak to them, then do that. There are ways that the church situation could have been done better. That lady is leading people to churches and people are following up behind her. Folks are going to get hurt. Because I said it on a video before. People love politics more than they love God. And they show it every single time. And it's seen in this video. No respect for the Lord's house, no respect for his temple. And when you say that Jesus went and knocked over tables, because those people were not respecting the temple. It is a place of worship, a place of healing, and a place of praise. And it should be respected at all times. I'm off the fence, y'all. I tried to sway it. Well, you know, they might be right. They rebuking. I wouldn't do it that way. I'm off the fence. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. And we're putting people in the middle that should not be in the middle of this situation or these situations. But you let me know what you think about this video in the comments below, because that's what I'm here for.